Hello and welcome to Prague in the Czech Republic for the final race of the 2019 ICF Canoe Slalom World Cup. The 5-race series culminates here with double points to determine who will be crowned the 2019 World Cup winner. 244 athletes from 36 countries have started in this competition, but we're now into semi-finals and finals time. So this great venue here, just on the outskirts of Prague, set on the famous Vltava river that flows through the centre of the city. This is where the action is going to unfold here on this whitewater course, opened in 1983, and well, it's been a real popular venue on the circuit. 2 World Championships it's hosted and multiple World Cups. And well, the weather conditions today, no wind, but a little bit cooler, a bit of an autumnal feel in the air, and a bit of rain, but that will not stop the races. So it's men's C1 semi-final, and here is the start as well. Yesterday in the heats we narrowed the field down from 55 boats through to 30, and on this single run it'll be to determine who goes through into the 10-boat final. Myself, Andy Maddock, is here in the commentary box and bringing you all the action, and I'm pleased to welcome from the Irish team Liam Jagu, who is a multiple junior and under 23 finalist at World Championship level and a bronze medalist this year from the under 23 World Championships. Welcome, Liam.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, great. And well, we are starting with racing, and the racing is reverse order of the performance in the heats yesterday. And we've got a new course, 25 gate course, set by Mark Delaney and Marianne Agulon, and 6 red and white upstream gates and the rest downstream gates on this tight, fast course.
First up is Pavel K1w from the Russian team. The Russians have placed all 3 of their boats in the semi-final. They've got a really strong C1 school in Russia. Pavel getting through the first 3 gates there pretty well, settling into a nice rhythm into the offsets here.
And this course design, we've got the double upstream gate 3 and 4, and then you've got 8 green and white downstreams in a row offset across the course. Surely that is going to be the real challenge, to keep that clean and fast.
Yeah, it seems like a really classic course design for Prague. Some nice feature moves off the back of the stoppers, some really tight offsets in the middle of the course. It's going to be nice.
Well, it's interesting because we would probably describe, although Prague is a really popular course with the athletes, it's not one of the most challenging courses, is it? It hasn't got such a steep gradient, but the difficulty really comes in the gate placement.
Yeah, the amount of features, there's just so much you can do here. You look at when we're training, there's about 120 gates set up on the course, so you can just do everything. You can work on everything here, and I think that's what makes Prague such a great course.
So Pavel K1w of the Russian Federation now coming into the final upstream gate here. This is a tricky little move.
It's a tough move to be setting at the end of the course there. Very long sprint. It's about 10 seconds. You can feel that one when you've already done a 100 seconds course.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? You just see the finish line, but it seems to take forever to get there. Well, a time of 1:13.42 is the first run down in this semi-final. Then, well, my anticipation would be definitely you need to be under 100 seconds to make it through to the final. Any further thoughts on that, Liam?
Yeah, I'd say so. Definitely under 100 seconds. Probably even, yeah, around 95, 100. I think that's what the cut will be.
So next on course for Brazil, it is Felipe Borges. So, well, he's been around on the circuit for quite some time, and well, never quite made it through into a final. Can this be his moment?
Yeah, he's been around for a long time. Felipe came 3rd at the Under-23 World Championships in Brazil back in 2015, I believe. He's struggling here. He's already offline. He's picked up a touch and he's losing a lot of time there. It's going to be hard to get back, especially with the paddlers coming after him. Oh, it's falling apart.
And that's one of the characteristics. I mean, we know in canoe slalom rhythm and feel is so important, but here in Prague, the proximity that you have to be to the poles and the rhythm and the fluidity of it all. How do you refocus when it is so relentless?
It is very hard, especially in Prague. Like if you're not on it, you have to be really close to the poles all the time, and there's not a lot of rest. Especially when they set courses in Prague, like it's usually pretty difficult with a lot of offsets, and when you get offline, you can lose a lot of time. And then it's just a mental game. I think if you start messing up, you just have to keep on it and keep on pushing. You never know what's going to happen. Even though I mean a semi-final in the World Cup in Prague, you know that to make the top 10, you're going to have to put down a very good run.
Well, yes, indeed, and 29 boats still to finish in this 30-boat semi-final, and just 10 boats into that final. And
Felipe giving up a bit there. He knows he's lost it there on the top of the course. It's just too much time to make up.
Well, as Felipe paddles out his run, it's not going to be a final today here in Prague. Then maybe an opportunity to just look ahead, as to, we've got some big names here. I think we've got 4 world champions on this start line with 8 world titles between them, and that doesn't include the likes of Alexander Slavkovsky and well, Luka Bozic, the race leader of the overall World Cup so far. So a really big field we've got here.
Yeah. Another Russian on the start.
Yeah, it's
Dmitry Kramstov. I don't know if I'm saying that properly.
Yeah, he was 4th at the Junior World Championships in 2016, 20-year-old. And I was speaking to Jean-Yves Chotin, the Russian team coach last night, the head coach, and he was really optimistic about the Russian team's performance coming up really for the World Championships. That's been the focus, and that will be the focus for a lot of the teams. And this is a really important opportunity to fine-tune those racing skills as we head west to the Spanish Pyrenees in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, the Russians have been looking very good this year in all categories. In C1m, they've got 3 solid paddlers. Kirill Setkin coming 4th at the European Championships in Po at the start of the year. They have a couple under 23 medals, I believe, as well in C1 women. Things are looking very well with in the C1 with Alexander Lipatov coaching and Jean-Yves Chotin in the K1.
Yeah, with Dmitry Kramtsov from the Russian Federation is, well, he's up on the split. He's showing that he's found the pace, and he looks like he's got the rhythm. Even at the bottom of the course where the arms are getting fatigued, he's really still got the run of the boat, and he'll probably find a bit more time. It's still going to be outside that 100-second barrier, though.
It looks like a very long course, though. I don't know if we'll see under 100 seconds. I'm not sure.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. We do get some information from the demonstration runners, and Vyacheslav Gubash of the Czech Republic, who's a respected paddler, was 102.91.
Okay.
I think we'll go under, but how far under, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So next up on course is for Australia, Stephen Lowther.
I think this is Stephen's 2nd semi-final, so he'd be happy to get into the semi-final again. Nice crossing to gate 4, keeping the speed on the boat, taking the high line out of 4. Nice and tight on gate 5. A lot of time can be lost in one here.
You can see just how close to the poles the athletes have to go. 2 seconds of penalties to add to the time if you touch the pole with any part of your body, your boat or your paddle. And there we can see Stephen has picked up a 2-second penalty on down gate 8. But really good example of how you have to work with the features that you were talking about there, Liam.
No, absolutely. If you're not playing with your boat in Prague, if you're not using your edges, you don't stand a chance.
Oh, and just another fiddly penalty. So easy to take the penalty. They're just thinking about the next gate, and suddenly the bow of the boat takes that touch. So another 2-second penalty added on to the downstream gate 15.
I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of penalties today. Just looking at the first couple of athletes, nobody's gone clean yet. It just looks like a very tricky course.
Yeah, and I think you're right there, and I think in some ways that we might anticipate as well in this 30-boat semi-final that we might lose some big names from that final just on the count of a penalty or a couple of penalties, because we know that here in Prague traditionally the racing is very tight.
Yeah, maybe leaving the door open for an outsider to make it into the final, who knows? Hopefully we can see a new name in the final.
Yeah, well, that's interesting, isn't it? And across the 4-race series we've actually had 4 different winners in the World Cup, so yeah, no dominant performance so far from anyone, and well, Mikhail Martikan has slowly been moving up the ranks and
making his way back,
making a statement for sure. But next up, well, here's a paddler who's been really fast on a number of occasions, particularly in the heats and the semi-finals. It's Gregor Hedwig of Poland, and wouldn't it be great to see him deliver what he's capable of in a final?
He's a very, very fast paddler. He's a regular finalist, but I don't think he's really performed to his full potential yet. Losing a bit of time on the punt there. I'm excited to see the Olympic battle between the Polish as well. They've got a couple of very strong boats, especially Gregor and Kasper. Kasper's been paddling very well, winning heats at the European Championships in Po, in London as well, I believe. Not being able to put the runs down in the semi-finals, but definitely some very, very fast runs there.
Well, I think this is a good time coming together from Gregor. He's up on the early split, but importantly, he's clean. He's 12th at the Olympic Games in Rio, and he's had 2 finals already in the 2019 ICF World Cup Series. Can he make it 3? Well, this is through the intense downstream section, and now he starts to look at more of the features. This is where the technical demands come in, and look at that, 5.5 seconds he has found, but he has taken another touch.
Yeah, apart from that missed punt at the start of the race, it's looking like a good run. He's keeping the speed on the boat.
Yeah, he really looks like he's in control, running the boat, sets up well for this final upstream gate.
Tell you something, Gregor won't have any issues on that final sprint. There's no lack of power there.
Well, here we have surely he's going to take the race lead, and he's going to have quite a long wait to see whether it's going to be enough to make it through into the final. But into the lead there, 1:03.62. That includes a 2-second penalty, so those times getting closer to that 100-second barrier.
Next up is Charles Correa, a C2 Olympian, paddling with Anderson Oliveira, who's successfully started paddling in C1 now. Made multiple semi-finals, hasn't made a final yet. Very technical paddler, nice to watch.
Well, let's watch here. It's come into the double upstream gate 3 and 4.
Staying on his crossbow, not going for the punt option. Picking up attention gate 4.
There, that 2-second penalty now confirmed on the screen for Charles. So just needing to refocus and make sure that he keeps it controlled as he comes through this sequence. Nice. So easy to pick up consecutive penalties when you make a little mistake.
If you're a little bit late on the start of those offsets, you're just going to pay straight away for it. If you pick up 1 touch, you're a little bit late on the first one, you can pick up 2-3 touches very easily, and that's your race over there.
Well, it looks like he's recomposed himself a little bit, but the damage is done, I think, at this stage. 3 touches, 6 seconds in penalties. That's a big ask even for some of our elite boats that are still to come. We've got Alexander Slavkovsky, the winner from last weekend in Markleberg, still to come. The Olympic champion, Denis Gargaud-Canoe. Well, can he make his first final of the season? It's not been the season that he would have liked so far.
Yeah, I think everybody was surprised by Denis' start of the season. He's trying a new boat. Things just weren't going his way. So it's good to see him put down a very good qualification run and hopefully see him in the final here today.
Yeah, his best position so far is 13th, but you're right, he was 5th in the heat, so
far off what he's capable of doing.
And we've got, well, we talked about Mikhail Martikan, the legend of the sport, is very much making his statement that he's back to some really strong form. But into 3rd place for Charles Correa of Brazil. And it is still Gregor Hedwig leading for Poland, ahead of Dmitry Karamtsov of the Russian Federation. Charles Correa there for Brazil in 3rd. And next up, Maciej Marinic of Croatia, 2018 Under-23 European champion. And, well, he's 15th at the World Championships last year. Very capable of making it through into the final, but Definitely. It is about going fast and clean at this stage.
Nice into gate 4. Yeah, Maciej is one of those paddlers who's definitely capable of making a final. I think he's struggled to perform in the semi-finals over the past couple of years, but there's definitely no lack of speed there. He's picking up touches in those offsets.
So easy once you get onto a plan B there, isn't it, to just lose your concentration a little bit, pick up a couple of penalties, and all of a sudden, in a matter of a few seconds, you've gone from on track to a place in the final to being outside.
And we still haven't seen a clean run yet.
No, that's an interesting observation there, because penalties look like they will be key on this course. The course designed by Marc Delaney, Marianne Aguilon. They will be the course designers for the World Championships in Spain in 3 weeks' time. And, well, they're fairly familiar with the athletes, aren't they, on the circuit in terms of course designers and setting tough but fair courses.
Yeah, definitely. Their World Championship course last year in Brazil was very, very tricky. I wonder if they're going to set something like that this year in Sejo.
Well, I guess that you can follow all that action on Planet Canoe when it unfolds. I think off the top of my head, it's about the 24th of September racing gets underway, but certainly go onto the Planet Canoe website and all the information will be there. But Matija Marinic of Croatia, it's not going to be today. 4 seconds in penalties. It's a quick time, 1:02.97, but into third place for Matija Marinic. So next up for Ireland, it is Jake Cochran.
Yeah, next up, Jake Cochran, good friend of mine. He's struggled this year with injury over the winter. Had a tough start of the season. It's great to see him back in great shape. Made the semi-final in Leipzig. Didn't go the way he wanted to. Making another semi-final here after a very good second run yesterday. He'll be going for a final here.
Yeah, and how important is that to get your season back on track ahead of the World Championships? A big team effort, really, to make sure that Ireland qualify a place for the Olympic Games.
No, definitely. I think Jake needed these results just because of the injuries he was having. Nicely through the offsets there. It's such a shame he picked up the touch because he was doing a great job there. Yeah,
it's such a difficult 8 gates in a row, no rest in that section, and like you say, he delivered the move really well, but just comes out with a 2-second penalty and another one as he drops over. On that move, we've seen a couple of moves there on 15 to 16, almost the athletes are busy looking at the feature, the water feature, to make sure the boat placement is there, and just losing track of what the paddle's doing.
It almost feels like, letting go of his paddle there, great technical move to avoid a touch on gate 19. It almost feels like the gates are a little bit low, there's so many touches.
Well, in and out to the upstream gate 21 for Jake Cochran of Ireland as he comes down into the final section. This Prague course really demanding physically at the bottom of the course, and really, really tricky on the setup there, 23. A little bit low on 24, and unfortunately 3 penalties now, 6 seconds showing on the screen.
It just didn't happen for Jake today. He'll be disappointed with that, but great to see him in the semi-final again ahead of Worlds.
Well done, Jake. It's good to see you back from injury, and he'll be in action at the World Championships in 3 weeks' time. But 7th place at the moment for Ireland, and it is still Hedvig of Poland leading, as we have the Russian Federation up next with Kirill Setkin.
Yeah, Kirill's a very, very good C1 paddler. I remember back in 2015 he won the Under-23 World Championships, I think, with 6 or 7 seconds. I was in that final, and it was not fun. But a very, very fast paddler. Came 4th at the European Championships in Po. I feel like he struggled to make it through into the senior ranks after his Under-23 years, but he's definitely able to make it through the finals and get a result in the finals.
Well,
picking up another touch in those offsets.
That's right. He didn't quite get the bows round. He didn't flick round. He had to drift and took a penalty on the back of his buoyancy aid, and comes out with just that one penalty in that section. But it starts to show just how difficult that section is. Yeah,
I think one touch is almost acceptable on a course like this, just by seeing what's going on, what's happened with the first couple of paddlers. See if he can stay clean from here on.
He's certainly looking like he's got the rhythm. He's still attacking the course. He's running the boat nicely, and he has an advantage over the race leader. It is small, 0.26, but he is our virtual race leader ahead of Gregor Hedvig of Poland. So if he can hold it together, pick up no extra penalties, then he can still be on track to be in and around that final zone.
Nice off the back of the last 2 stoppers there, keeping the speed on the boat.
Beautifully done. Now we've got to dig deep, and it's not just about digging deep, is it? Because the waves at the bottom on this sprint, you've got to time the strokes as well, haven't you? Otherwise the time could slip away.
Yeah, it's not an easy sprint actually. There's a lot of waves going in every direction, so you need to time it well. You can't just put your head down and pull like a madman. Does not work.
Well, into the race lead, so well done Kirill Setkin of the Russian Federation. He's set the time to beat. Again, it includes a 2-second penalty, 1:03.23. And next up for Italy, it is Stefano Cipresi, who, well, he made the final last weekend in Markkleeberg in Germany. And he's also made the 6th place at the World Cup in Tarsen, so he's really, the last couple of World Cups have gone his way.
Stefano's actually started his career in K1. He's a world champion in Prague in 2006, I believe. And yeah, obviously doing very well in C1. He's gone to the Olympics in C1. He's got a very particular style. Nobody paddles like him. He does a lot of switching. He's not a big fan of the crossbows, but he makes it work.
And it helps him on these tricky moves like that. You can see he's up on 13. The split, and importantly, clean at the moment.
Still clean. He's gotten through the tricky offsets. Oh, just before I said.
Well, useful. Using the wave there, 15 to 16 on this whitewater course here. These 25 gates, just so tight the course. And there we see another penalty picked up on the downstream gate 17. So Cipresi, he escaped the difficult bit clean, but suddenly in that move 12 through to 17, he's picked up 2 gates.
He'd gotten through the hardest part of the course, and he picked up two touches that he'd be furious at himself. Because a clean run like that, we'll have to see. He's lost a bit of time on the end of the course there.
Well, Stefano Cipresi of Italy now sprinting towards the finish line there, switching the blade to optimise his strength and reserves, but into 3rd place for Stefano. Those 4 seconds of penalties proving costly. So it is still Kirill Setkin of the Russian Federation in 1st, Gregor Hedvig of Poland in 2nd, Cipresi of Italy in 3rd, as we're at the 3rd point. So we've had 10 down, 20 to go in this men's C1 semi-final here. We're live from Prague in the Czech Republic, and next up, the first of our Slovenian paddlers, Ondřej Berčič, who was, well, he was a silver medalist at the Tarsen World Cup. He's a 2-time World Cup winner and very capable of getting into this final.
Back-to-back World Cup winner in 2013, I think. He's struggled in recent years to get back to that level of winning World Cups. Very smooth paddler. Obviously, racing just nationally against 2 paddlers like Luka Bozic and Benny Savsek. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, so you have to improve your level.
And that'll be an interesting battle for the Olympic Games for the Slovenian team.
Yeah.
Particularly, so Luka Bozic, we'll see him up very soon. He's the overall World Cup leader after 4 races in the series. And again, obviously Benjamin Savcek, who's hugely consistent, world champion from 2017, but multiple medalists, always in the mix.
Yeah, Luka Bozic for me is the on-form paddler of the season. But getting back to Ondřej here, picking up 2 touches again. Still no clean runs.
So it looks like if you can deliver a steady, clean run, then you will be right in the mix for a place in the final. That final will be live this afternoon, 12 o'clock Central European time. And you can follow that Planet Canoe. It's also live on Eurosport 2, I believe. So follow it through the action this afternoon, but let's find out who is going to be in that final. But another penalty there for Ondřej Berčič of Slovenia, and it's not going to be today a final. He knows that, and only into 9th place.
Feels like everybody's fighting for it a little bit too much. Nobody's getting the lines they're looking for. So a lot of tired faces at the end there.
So Kirill Setkin still leading for the Russian Federation, as we have our first paddler for Germany. It's Timo Trummer on course now, coming through into gate 2. So the German team, it's a development team this weekend. The Germans used last weekend as in Markkleeberg, the World Cup 4, as their Olympic team selection, and then their A team essentially are having a little rest before the World Championships. Early penalty there for Timo, and another one, and another one. So they're clocking up. And it'll be interesting to see how many of the top athletes are walking the course, watching the early runners to make any final learnings.
Yeah, I'd say the people at the end of the category are definitely watching what's going on and seeing that there's a lot of touches being picked up, and that you don't necessarily need to put down an incredible run to get into the finals. Just a clean run should do the trick.
Well, that's right. I think you will find that maybe there'll be some information going up the river, as we say, from the coaches to just say, well, it's all about making sure you don't take too many risks and save those risk-taking moves into the final. You've got to get in there first. So Timo Trummer, it's a respectable run, but those 3 penalties are going to keep him out of the final today. And it's interesting, we've got almost, yes, it's double points, it's the World Cup final, big racing at stake, but we've also got some races within races. We've got the British team, the French team and the Slovak team who are using this race as part of their Olympic selection process.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, the race within the race. I'm very excited to see the 3 British paddlers race here. Dave Lawrence, Adam Burgess and Ryan Wesley, 3 incredible paddlers.
Well, you did that right on cue there, Liam, because the first of those British paddlers is on course. It's Adam Burgess of Great Britain, who was a silver medalist at the European Championships here on this course in 2018.
Very smooth paddler. I think a course like this will favour Adam because he's very, very good technically. I think he'll feel very comfortable in those offsets where everybody's picking up touches. Let's see how it goes.
Well, this is the critical section, isn't it? And so important to stay ahead of the game. A bit like driving a car around lots of corners. If you can stay ahead of the game, then you open up the moves. And certainly he's found a bit of time there against our race leader. 1.2 the advantage on the split.
Not great. I think he could do much faster, but he's staying clean. I reckon the coaches probably had a word with him before his run, just to get into the final, because the race off between the British will definitely be in the finals. I feel like the 3 of them will make it through. You never know, but I'd be very surprised if Ryan and Dave didn't make it with Adam.
So Ryan Wesley and David Florence still to come, and Ryan Wesley was the fastest in the heats for Great Britain. He's extended the advantage 2.5 seconds now. Adam Burgess of Great Britain is our virtual race leader at this stage of the competition, but he still has to negotiate the bottom part of the course. And through gate 22, this is the critical move, setting up and getting in tight into the upstream 24.
Looks like Adam's done the job. Can make it through to the final.
Well, it's a solid run there for Adam Burgess of Great Britain there, sprinting to the finish. Is he going to go not under 100 seconds, 101.54, but importantly for him, into the race lead. It's the first clean run from the first 13 boats down this course. Such is the technical challenge of the course. Do you think that'll be enough, Liam?
I reckon that'll be enough, just by looking at all the results before, how many mistakes there's been. We're going to get into the very, very good paddlers of the C1m class here, so I think we'll start seeing more clean runs, but I reckon Adam's done enough there.
Well, only time will tell that, as the next of our German paddlers is on course. Leonard Truscherer, who is doing his first World Cup of the 2019 season.
He made the senior team last year. I think he was still a junior, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, obviously a very good paddler, still very young.
And not many opportunities. The Germans have a very strong men's C1 team. We know that the likes of Franz Anton, Sideris Tassiadis fighting it out for their Olympic spot and things. So these opportunities don't come around very often to go to a senior World Cup, and well, he's taken the advantage by at least making it through into the semi-finals.
Yeah. Leonard's kept it clean there. He's gotten through the hardest part of the course clean. Nicely done. Oh,
well, he did have the virtual race lead over Adam Burgess, but with that 2-second penalty, that will challenge that as he comes down towards gate 19-20, and 3.1 now the deficit on race leader Adam Burgess of Great Britain.
I don't think Adam's run was unbelievable, but I think he's done the job to make it through the finals. I think we'll see 97 in the semi-finals to win it. Maybe not, 98.
Oh no, I like it. I like your ambition, and it would be great if we can see that. And the thing about I always think the thing about all these races, someone will always find that those couple of extra seconds somewhere, and that's what's special about the sport of canoe slalom. Really, it comes from nowhere. We saw that last weekend in Markleberg with Vit Brindis in the men's kayak race. That no one had found the time, and then Vit, looking effortless as ever, just comes down and smashes the time. Well, next up for Great Britain, it's David Florence, the two-time world champion in this men's C1 event, and the first time he won the world title was here on this course in Prague.
Legend of the sport.
So he's a three-time Olympic silver medalist and very hungry still to get to the games, and well, he still wants that Olympic gold medal. So looking very smooth as he comes out the double upstream. Now, this is where the business end of this course is really challenging those paddlers. I know a lot of support. Well, is up on the split. It's only 0.19, but importantly, keeping it clean as he comes through 12, and now into the upstream gate 13. Has to work quite hard on that move.
And does he not?
Well, that's true.
Dave Lawrence, not shy of putting all the energy he has into his paddling.
So world champion in
Doesn't spare any gas.
2013 and then 2015. Hasn't probably performed as consistently in the last couple of years, but I have to say the 2019 season and at the back end of 2018 he definitely started to rediscover that form. But somewhere on the course, 2.98 seconds, and it's interesting to see just how the time can slip away if you lose the run of the boat. So David Florence now, clean as he comes into the final upstream gate 24. He's not quite as tight as he might like to be, and now what can he do as he approaches the finish? It's going to be outside the race lead time, but it is going to be clean, and that will be important.
That's going to be close.
Oh, into fourth place for David Florence of Great Britain, 105.10, and well, we can see already we're getting towards, in fact we are at the halfway point in this men's C1 semi-final, and already really tight at the top.
Yeah. Next up is Cedric Joly. This year is French Olympic selection as well. They're racing their Olympic selection here in Prague. They've done London, Prague, and they'll be racing in Canoe as well. Cedric had a very difficult start to the season as well, same as Denny. Last year he'd made lots and lots of World Cup finals. I think he made almost every World Cup final, bar Augsburg. So he's definitely able to make the finals. Cedric knows the course here very, very well. He lived here 2 years ago. He spent a year here, so he'll have done those offsets quite a couple of times.
Yes, this offset, legendary of this Prague course. That's the characteristic. You don't know what the course is going to be, but you do know you're going to be worked hard from left to right to left to right.
No doubt, yeah.
And you also need to make sure you've got enough reserves in the tank for the lactic acid on the bottom part of the course. But Cedric Joly, one of 3 boats from France in this semi-final, and as you say, Liam, they are, well, this race is an important part of the Olympic selection process for the French team.
Yeah, I think Cedric has his back against the wall. He has to make a final here if he wants to still be in the run for Olympic selection. It's going to be very difficult with +4.
It is indeed, as he comes down into the gate 23, and another penalty. It's so easy, isn't it? If you're a little bit late into that setting up the move for the upstream, then you tend to put the back of the boat down, and it's so vulnerable to a penalty on that downstream 23.
Long course as well, over 100 seconds. They'll be feeling the burn at the end, of course, there.
So into 7th place for Cedric Joly of France, and it is still Adam Burgess leading for Great Britain, ahead of Kirill Setkin of the Russian Federation and Gregor Hedwig of Poland. That's the top 3 at the moment, but 14 boats still to come down in this men's C1 semi-final. We're live from Prague in the Czech Republic. Myself, Andy Maddock, and alongside me, Liam Jagu. And well, on course now, it is the leader of the World Cup series after 4, the hugely consistent Luka Bozic of Slovenia.
He's definitely the on-form paddler of the season. He's been paddling very, very well. He's leading the World Cup now. Strong contender for the World Championship title in Canoe in 2 weeks' time.
So he's made every final. including, well, since the World Championships in 2018, but every final in the World Cup Series. He's yet to take a gold medal. He's, well, maybe he can do that today, but he's second last weekend, fourth in Lee Valley, third in Bratislava, ninth on his home course in Tartan.
He was a little bit slow on the spin there, but nice cross into the upstream, gate 13.
It's really interesting what you said, Liam, about it is a bit longer course, and 10 seconds longer than normal, and 10 seconds is a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. Oh, beautiful upstream 16. I don't think that was his plan, but he nailed it.
Well, Luka Bozic now, he's absolutely delivering what is required. He's keeping it clean, but 2.44 seconds down on race leader Adam Burgess of Great Britain. So interesting that there is still some time in those upstreams between sort of 12 and 17.
Yeah, Luka's one of those paddlers as well. He can afford a mistake because he's so fast. He has that margin of error like that some people don't have.
Oh, nicely done into 24, really composed on the setup, and then he goes in for the kill. And Luka Bozic surely will have found a bit of time on that bottom section.
I think he won't have any issues with the long course. 104, oh, that's surprising.
So into fourth place for Luka Bozic, 104.59. So Adam Burgess still leading for Great Britain. Kirill Setkin of Russian Federation in second. Gregor Hedvig of Poland in third. And here, well, is a world champion from 2017, Benjamin Savcek of Slovenia. And again, one you would favour to be into this final. I think already we can see the racing is going to be tight, and there is no margin for even the smallest mistake.
It'd be very interesting. I'd have thought a clean run. I'd have thought a run like that from Luka would definitely guarantee you a spot in the final, but I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, so Benny Savcek, sixth at the Rio Olympic Games, and right, he has found some time. 1.26 up, and he's looking very smooth, very much in charge as he comes through gate 12.
Very fast paddler. 2013 to 2017, he was on the podium of the World Championships every single time. It just shows what kind of a paddler he is and how consistent he is.
And in a sport like canoe slalom, that kind of consistency, well, that's what everybody wants to find, but it's often the elusive, well, it's what makes the difference between being a good paddler and an outstanding legend of the sport. Look at that. He has found some time. Benny Savcek of Slovenia has found the groove on this course, and surely can he be the first one under 100 seconds? He's on track. He's just got to deliver the last three gates.
Nicely done there.
Nicely done, and looking really composed. Not taking any extra risks, is he there, Liam?
No, he knows he's got a good run going for himself, and he's not gonna take any unnecessary risks towards the bottom. 99.44, excellent run.
Great stuff. Into the race lead for Benjamin Savcek of Slovenia.
I don't know about that 98 though. I think 99 might be our fastest run of the day.
Well, let's wait and see. Adam Burgess for Great Britain in second place. Kirill Setkin of the Russian Federation in third at the moment, with only one boat under 100 seconds. Next up, it is Michal Martikan of Slovakia.
The king of C1.
The king, the man who invented really the modern performances and has had to reinvent himself over his career.
Absolutely. He's a 5-time world champion, and we were having a discussion yesterday with my coach on how many World Cup gold medals he had won. I think it's over 20.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know he's won 42, I think it is, World Cup medals, but I don't know how many gold medals. So, and it's really great to see him coming back into form, because, you know, with all due respect to him, you'd have probably written him off from ever coming back to the top end of what he could produce a few years ago.
Yeah, I think he was struggling with injury during the 2013 season after the Olympics. And he really struggled to come back from that, and proved everybody wrong, and by winning a World Cup in Leipzig in 2017.
So he is a bit up against it. He's got a 2-second penalty on the downstream gate 7, but he's had some great performances in the World Cup so far. He was 6th in Bratislava, 5th in Tartan, 4th in Markleberg, so surely that progression. Can he get on the podium? Well, he's got to get into the final first.
He's quite far off there, but if Markin's known for something that's picking up the pace towards the bottom of the course and making some time up.
And of course this is the part of the Slovak team Olympic selection.
It is, yeah.
And Mikhail Martican very good on the upstream, gate 24 there, and looking like more like the vintage Martican now, but how close can he get to that 100-second? Well, third place, he sneaks in, and that's pretty good if you think that that includes a 2-second penalty. 100.79, his raw time. But you'll have to wait and see if that is enough. So it is still Savcek leading for Slovenia, Burgess of Great Britain in second, Mikhail Martican of Slovakia in third, and next up, well, it's a big rival from Slovakia, Matej Benos on course. Matej, the Olympic silver medalist from Rio 2016. Slovakia have taken a medal in this event at the Olympic Games in the 6th consecutive Olympic Games. 5 times with Mikhail Martican, and then Matej Benos finally got an opportunity to go to the Games and made every opportunity count, taking a silver medal in Rio. Well, interesting, I was just going to say, well, prepared to sacrifice a bit of time to keep it clean there, but
a bit off the pace and then picking up another 2-second penalty. He's going to need to pick it up.
So we've lost 2.93 seconds down on the split. So Matej Benos of Slovakia needs to really find some time in this upstream. The upstream 16 here, and then particularly the upstream 21. We know time has been trading hands on this part of the course.
I think to keep the Olympic dream alive with the Slovaks, you're definitely going to have to make it through to the finals. I'm not sure who's in the lead. I think Alexander Slavkovsky's in the lead for Olympic selection with the Slovaks, but there's 2 more races to go, and with them you never know.
Well, and Alexander made a really clear statement last weekend, not only by winning the World Cup in Markkleeberg in Germany, but at his interview afterwards he made a really clear statement to his federation about that he is a winner and he is capable of doing the job for Slovakia. Matej Benos now sprinting to the finish and into 4th place. There's a real group of people around about the 102 seconds, and well, Benos goes in behind Mikhail Martican of Slovakia. So Benjamin Savcek still leading for Slovenia.
Great to see Casey in the semi-finals here after missing out on making the semi-finals last week, I think.
He was delighted not to be here in the commentary box, actually. He said to me after the heats yesterday.
He's definitely probably capable of making the finals. He showed it at World Championships 2015. He was so close to getting a medal. Picking up a touch towards the end of the course, he could have won it easily.
Well, that's right. So let's see what Casey can do. It'd be great to see him in the final. And what a boost that would be to his season running into the World Championships. And just a little bit out of shape there through 9 and 10.
He feels like he's just surviving a little bit in those offsets. He's late everywhere.
He's late everywhere.
Nicely done. Nice save there.
But now he gets to breathe a little bit in the upstream. But
he's lost a lot of time there, though, and a lot of energy that he'll need towards the bottom of the course here.
Well, let's see how he recomposes himself as he comes down through the bottom section. Upstream gate 16. Here you can see the course from a spectator perspective, really close to the action, and certainly we would anticipate when the Czechs start coming down, the noise will really grow.
Yeah, finals here in Prague are incredible. Nobody does it like them.
So Casey Eifeld of the United States of America, he's 7 seconds down on the split.
He's just fighting for it a little bit too much here, everywhere. Those offsets and all the upstreams. It's not going to happen for him today, unfortunately.
So it is a clean run at the moment for Casey, but it isn't going to be a place in the final for Casey Eifeld, and that's just really reflects the, just like you said, Liam, just not quite finding the lines all the way down, and the time just slips away.
There's so much time to lose in those offsets in the middle of the course.
Into 10th place for Casey Eifeld of the United States of America. But still, Benny Savcek leading for Slovenia, and Adam Burgess of Great Britain.
First boat to officially qualify as well for the finals. This is Benjamin Savcek.
Well done, that's a good point there. And here, the first of the paddlers from the Czech Republic, Thomas Rack, who you would anticipate to show us some of those local moves and some of those skills.
Came second at the European Championships last year, second or third, can't remember exactly, but
third I think it was.
He was definitely up there. He knows how to paddle on his home course. I think he'd be very good on in these offsets as well. It suits his style. Really taking it direct.
Really confident, throwing the boat around, but really confident and good awareness of what the bow of the boat's doing. Otherwise, you can easily take a penalty through there.
He was quite off the pace, and now picking up another 2-second penalty. He's going to have to pick it up towards the bottom of the course if he wants to make it through to the finals.
Yeah, 2.5 seconds is the deficit, and I suspect that may not have actually included that 2-second penalty. So Thomas Rack really needs to find some local knowledge down on this bottom bit of the course. Crowd growing here. Unfortunately, it is raining a little bit this morning. The weather not quite what you normally expect for Prague here, but it's not really dampening the atmosphere.
Nicely done there. Nice move off the back of the stopper. He's gained a bit of time there, but I think he's going to need a bit more than that to hope to make it through to the final spin in here.
Yeah,
that's fast. That's fast.
7 seconds down on the split. That's a big ask to make it through into the final. You're right. That's an interesting move to spin. Bit of local knowledge, but a few people looking at that, I suspect, in terms of their preparation from semi-final into final and into 8th place for Thomas Rack of the Czech Republic. And well, that pushes David Florence down for Great Britain down to 9th place, and looking high risk in terms of that Olympic selection story unfolding. But it's still Benjamin Savcek leading for Slovenia, Adam Burgess, Great Britain in 2nd, and now those two are confirmed into the final. Michal Martikan of Slovakia is currently sitting in 3rd and next up to qualify.
Only 2 clean runs as well so far. Oh no, more than 2, sorry.
There's a few,
not a lot of clean runs anyways.
Not a lot of clean runs for sure. And we look at the fast young Polish paddler Kasper Stuber, the 2017 junior world champion on course.
Kasper can be very, very fast. He's shown it on some individual runs here this year, winning heats in Po and in London, I think. So no lack of speed there. Just needs to put it down in the semi-finals. I think he came 11th last week in Leipzig.
And he finished 14th. Just behind you, didn't he, at the Under-23 World Championships? 4th
very,
place.
Very close. There wasn't a lot between us. It was my last year. He's got a couple of years to get a medal now.
Well, Kasper is keeping it clean now as he comes down through gate 17. We'll get a bit of an indication of where he stacks up against our race leader, Benjamin Savcek of Slovenia. 3.65, well, that's in touch with the next group of people to make it into the final, but he needs to find a bit of time to if he's going to save an agonising wait at the bottom of the course.
He's keeping it clean. He needs to nail the last upstream if he wants to give himself a chance to get through to the finals.
He's not done that. I wouldn't
it's
say he's
bad,
nailed
not
it.
Exceptional.
It's just keeping it tidy, but
it'll be close.
Well, it looks like Michal Martikan is going to be our next confirmed finalist for Slovakia, because into 7th place there goes Kasper Stuber of Poland, and Michal Martikan will be into the final. So next as well, Mate Benus is now sitting on the bubble waiting to see if he's done enough. It looks like he has, probably, but on course Alexander Slavkovsky, the winner from the World Cup last weekend in Markkleeberg in Germany, and what a result that was for him.
Very impressive to see. He was going off last in the finals, and knowing it was Olympic selection, knowing that there was 2 other Slovaks in the finals, impressive to see. Putting down a very fast run under pressure.
Yeah, that pressure has been increased really this season, knowing it was part of the Olympic selection process, because he was ill in the early part of the season, and that put him back a little bit on his training. So it's good to see him back, and well, he's only around about a second down on that early split, so Alexander very much on track, and he comes out of that section still clean.
Yeah, you can tell he's trained here a lot. He's getting through those moves very, very, very easily, not putting in too much effort.
He just looks like he's so smooth and composed. He doesn't look like he's taking any risk. It actually doesn't look like he's working that hard, but we know he absolutely is pulling on the blade. But 2.17. So at the moment, if he can hold that deficit, he will automatically go into the final.
Beautiful there. Just needs to keep it clean now.
Well, this is the move, really. You've now got to set up through 22, 23, get tight into the upstream 24, and he could be straight into the final, but sticky on the run into 24.
It's not an easy move for the righties there. You can easily get caught on your crossbow there and get stuck in the upstream. But it looks like Alexander's done enough to get through the finals.
Now, good run from Alexander Slavkovsky of Slovakia, straight into the final. Well done, Alexander, a race winner from last weekend. And Benjamin Savcek is leading for Slovenia. Alexander Slavkovsky into second for Slovakia. Adam Burgess for Great Britain is in third. Michal Martikan of Slovakia fourth. Those are our 4 qualifiers, 6 boats to go, and they're the 6 fastest boats from the heats yesterday. And the second of 2 boats for the Czech Republic is up next. Wojciech Heger is on course. Finalist at the Bratislava World Cup this season. That's the only final he's made so far.
Probably the youngest paddler in the final today, in the semi-final today. Got a little bit stuck in gate 4, but nice save. A little bit late there.
And it's the real dilemma, isn't it? In front of your home crowd, a young paddler. Yes, you've got the advantage of your home course, but you've got that pressure, that expectation, and if you can find you can deal with it, then that's great. It almost gives you extra horsepower. If not, then it could be a real challenge.
He's doing very well there. Good move from 12 to 13.
I'd agree. It looks like he's really keeping it focused and really on track. 0.75 was the deficit as the first split, which was really in touch with a place in the final. Can Wojciech, well, hold on to that. He's going to be outside.
Be quite off, yeah.
It's just about how much he's outside. 4.71, so he has dropped some time in that middle section.
He's going to need to find something towards the end of the course here if he wants to give himself a chance.
Well, one of the big surprises is that at the moment, Thomas Rack is lying in 10th place, so whatever happens, then really on the bubble as to whether the Czech Republic will have a men's C1 in the final. The likes of Stanislav Jezek, who has sort of made this his home and on the big World Cups in the last 10 years, then he's around watching this race.
Yeah.
And only into 12th place for Wojciech Heger, so a good start and a solid run. But just, you can see, if you don't find the groove, then you don't go through into the final. So Matej Benos of Slovakia is confirmed as our next qualifier. And next up, a big run here for Denis Gargochenou.
Let's see what Denis can do if he can forget about the first half of the season and start getting into those finals. And when he's in the final, obviously he's going for the medals.
Wow, that was a good move. 3 to 4, really tight on the upstream gate 4. So the Olympic champion of Rio 2016, world champion of 2011, has not had it his own way. His best result in a World Cup season has been 13th place. That was last weekend in Markkleeberg, but he's in touch. 0.43, that's the closest anyone's been for a while.
Yeah, he's looking a lot more like himself in this boat.
Well, he's clean on the top half of the course. Now he's got to stay focused. This for a place in the World Cup final here in Prague in the Czech Republic. Double points up for grabs, and importantly for him to really boost his confidence going into the World Championships. Well, he's dropped some time, 2.96, but he is still really just around. Well, if he can keep that kind of deficit, he will qualify through into the final.
He doesn't have a lot of time to play with, though. He's going to have to keep the pace, stay on it if he wants to make it through the finals.
Well,
this is an important race for him as well, because it's his Olympic selection, and he hasn't done too well in London, so he needs a final here if he wants to stay in touch with Thomas Martin, who's going off right after him.
Well, here he comes as he paddles for a place in the final into 7th place, so he will have to wait and see, but he is in touch with a place in the final. Kirill Setkin for the Russian Federation is confirmed into the final, and Denis Gargochenou is next in line, so we'll have to wait and see, but as you say, Liam, I think that will be enough. We'll have to wait and see, though. We still have 4 boats to go, and next up is another Frenchman, 29-year-old Martin Thomas.
He absolutely dominated French selections this year. He was very, very fast. He didn't even have to take the start at the last race of selections because he was so far ahead of everybody else. I'm a big fan of his style. Very, very powerful, great core strength. Getting stuck in the stopper there a little bit. He can paddle on both sides as well. He's much more comfortable on his left side, but he won't hesitate to change to switch to paddle on the right side if there's something that goes faster.
Well,
he's quite off there.
It's quite off, and that's in the early part of the course. So
staying clean.
And you're right, Liam. He is doing that part of the job well. A good kick there.
Yeah.
He's really tight into the upstream 13. There's a bit of time there sometimes if you can't quite get the kick off the water.
Good speed in and out of gate 13 there.
Well, this is critical. So the time to beat is effectively it's France against France for that next place in the final. 103.54 is the run time, so it's outside the 100 seconds. Only one person under 100 seconds, and that's really unusual. So just that little bit of extra length to this course, and that adds a physical demand.
I'm surprised he stayed on the left side for the whole run, that he hasn't switched, for example, on that move. Because like I said, on his right side he can paddle almost as good as on the left side, which is quite rare for a C1 paddler.
Well, he works hard there, gets into the upstream gate 24, and Martin Thomas is going to be up against it. Let's see, can he find something on the bottom of the course? It's going to be so close. It's going to be outside of the time, 103.54. So Denis Gargaud-Canoe of France is into the final. The Olympic champion makes his first final of the season, but no final, unfortunately, for Martin Thomas of France, only into 11th place. So 3 boats to go in this men's C1 semi-final. We're live from Prague in the Czech Republic. Myself, Andy Maddock, and alongside me, Liam Jagu of the Irish team. And well, here's a boat who won a World Cup in the 3rd World Cup of the season in Slovenia. It's Roberto Colazzingari.
Double under 23 world champion. He won the World Cup in Tassin a couple of weeks ago. So he's definitely on form this year. It's also their Olympic selection, I believe. I don't know if they're having their Olympic selection on the World Cups this year. I'm not sure if Prague counts for them. But yeah, be interesting to see who goes to Olympics for Italy.
Yeah, well, indeed. And 4 seconds the deficit at the moment there. Roberto just into a bit of trouble in the middle section. Looks like he's put that behind him. But such the proximity of the Poles. And speaking of Poles, there, Gregor Hedvig of Poland is the person now sitting in the next spot. Can he be the next person to qualify? Well, at the moment, I think he's probably looking in a good place compared to Roberto, but there's still a bit of time left. 6.66 the deficit. Roberto Colazzingari is going to have to do something special to come back from that.
It's a lot to make up and not a lot of course to make it up.
Yeah, and most of the time is trading hands on that top section, really the 8 downstream gates in a row, and in that sort of gate 12 through to 17 really. Not a lot, well, there's only a few, maybe the 10ths are trading on the bottom section. But Roberto Colazzingari of Italy is paddling for a place in the final, but it's going to be outside on this occasion. 14th place for the World Cup winner from race 3 in Tartu in Slovenia. And well, here is where the problem started for Roberto. That's where he picked up that 2-second penalty on the downstream gate 9. And what is bad news for Roberto is good news for Gregor Hedvig of Poland, because Gregor is into the final with 2 boats to go in this men's C1 semi-final, and it's Thomas Kirklin of Switzerland now looking to book his place in the final. Thomas is no stranger to making World Cup finals. I think he's had 6 World Cup finals in his career, but he would probably want to be a bit more consistent around that, and this is his opportunity to get into the final, and particularly ahead of the World Championships, really boost that confidence.
Yeah, consistency definitely has been Thomas's problem, because he's such an amazing paddler, and an athlete. I train, I see him training in Po. We live in the same place, train on the same course, so I see him every day, and he does struggle to put the runs down at the right moment in the semi-finals, but he can definitely win a World Cup, no problem, in my opinion.
Well, he's just unfortunately picked up an upstream penalty on the gate 16.
Falling offline as well. He's not far off, but he's picked up another touch there.
And if you watch his boat, you can just see where he gets that pace from. He is so fluid, he's so smooth. But yeah, those 2 penalties,
Taking a
surely.
different line there, the left line, which is interesting. Having some issues with his sticker in front of his boat. That's probably not helping him.
Well, it's definitely, you know, it's been a good run, but those 4 seconds of penalties for Thomas Kirklin of Switzerland will open the door to Poland's Kasper Stuber.
Great for Kasper though. I think it might be his first World Cup final, and yeah, well deserved. He's been having a very good season, some very, very fast runs in heats and in semi-finals, but yeah, great to see him in the finals.
So it's not to be, unfortunately, for Thomas Kirklin of Switzerland into 16th place. Those 4 seconds of penalties spoil what was a quick time, 102.73. It's the last boat down, the fastest from the heats. It is Ryan Wesley. Ignore the graphic there. Ryan Wesley of Great Britain, on course, the World Championship silver medalist from 2018 and a European champion on this course in 2018.
Yeah, such an impressive athlete, because I think he's had a very tough winter with injury. The British actually had to push back their Olympic selection so that he could race after his medal in Rio, and he's just so good at putting down the runs when he needs to put them down.
He's just taken a penalty on the downstream gate 10, so Ryan Wesley there.
He definitely has the speed to make it through with a touch, maybe even 2.
Well, he was 0.58 down at the early split, so he was very much in touch with the place in the final. And the time to beat to make it in is 1:04.59. That's the time he has to beat to make it into this World Cup final. Currently, Luka Bozic of Slovenia is sat in that place. And Ryan Wesley now heading down towards gate 20. There's the leaderboard at the moment. Still Savsek of Slovenia leading the way. And how tight is that into 21? Well, Ryan Wesley now a little bit up against it. He's got that 2-second penalty, but if he can, he's got the pace. If he can get inside a 1:04.59, but another penalty on 23, that could be significant. Surely he can't make it back from that. Ryan Wesley now is sprinting to the finish.
He's just out, yeah.
And into 15th place. So big surprise there for the fastest qualifier in the heats. The European champion, World Championship silver medalist Ryan Wesley of Great Britain will not progress into the final. And neither would David Florence of Great Britain. So the Olympic selection
it's looking very good for Adam there. If he can put down a solid run in the finals there, he can definitely get some extra points for Olympic selection and break away from the two other British C1 paddlers.
Well, it'd be interesting. Yeah, because I think Adam Burgess being the only British boat actually takes the points in the British team Olympic selection regardless, so he can actually race without fear. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do in the final.
And he won in London as well, so he's already leading Olympic selection. So. Well done, Adam.
Well, all to play for. Still, they'll go to the World Championships as well. There's bonus points up for grabs, and that sets up what will already be an exciting World Championships. But with so much extra at stake amongst all the different teams, it'll be lots of stories within the whole overall competition. But it is
for an exciting World Championship for sure.
It is Benjamin Savsek of Slovenia who takes the honours in this semi-final. He'll go off last in the final. Alexander Slavkovsky, Adam Burgess, Mikhail Martikan, Matej Benos, Kirill Setkin, Denis Gargo-Chanou, Gregor Hedvig, Kasper Stuber and Luka Bozic, the World Cup leader, will all be racing in that C1 men's final.
Great to see Denny back in the finals there. First final of the season.
Good point. Yes, the Olympic champion in the first final of his season, and well, he can use that as a launch pad now to see what he can do in the final. So they'll race off in reverse order, and that final is at 12 o'clock Central European time. Luka Bozic will lead off for Slovenia, the World Cup leader, after 4 races, and well, he'll have to see if he can find some time to get on the podium. But we watch Ryan Wesley. That's where the problems for Ryan Wesley started. Touch on gate 10 and compounded by a touch on gate 23. So don't go away, because we will be up very shortly with the women's K1. But here it is, the classification of the men's canoe semi-final. those are the top 10 from the semi-final, the qualifiers into the final at 12 o'clock Central European time. Benjamin Savcek, the 2017 world champion, is our fastest paddler. And there's some names that have missed out, the likes of two-time world champion David Florence for Great Britain, European champion from 2018 Ryan Wesley, and well, and the likes of Cedric Joly, who I would have said would be you'd expect to be in the mix for France,
especially in Prague. Yeah, I was expecting Cedric to get through to the finals.
Well, we are going to be up very shortly with the women's K1. That's the semi-final. 30 boats will be racing down for 10 in the final, and well, I'll be back in just a few moments' time. So welcome back to the action. It's the women's K1 semi-finals here, live from Prague in the Czech Republic. It's the World Cup final, the culmination of 5 races of the season. We started in Great Britain, then we went to Slovakia, then Slovenia, then Germany, and now the Czech Republic. Myself, Andy Maddock, bringing you all the action as it comes, and now welcome to the commentary box from Australia, Tim Anderson, who is going to talk us through as we go into this women's kayak semi-final. The top 30 boats from the heats yesterday. Already we lost 30 boats in those heats, 60 starters in the World Cup. We're now down to 30, and we are on this run going to determine who in that top 10 will go through into the final this afternoon. So welcome, Tim.
Good morning, Andy.
And well, your reflections on this great Prague course.
Oh, it's an amazing course to race at and train at. It's packed with features the whole way down, so you're never really getting a reprieve from the action, which is good. So it's exciting to watch, and it's exciting to paddle on.
Well, we're into the kayaks, and if you're not familiar with the differences between the canoes and the kayaks, the canoes that we've just been watching, they're kneeling in the boat with a single-bladed paddle, and now we're into the kayaks where they're sitting in the boat with legs out in front of them and the double-bladed paddle. So on course, Ida Novak of Slovenia. So her best so far in the World Cup was 13th, actually on her home course in Tarts, and so it'll be interesting to see whether she can do a little bit better than that and get into the final.
Yeah, the Slovenian paddlers are all renowned for their smooth style. Ida's got that style. You can see she's really composed in the boat, not rushing for anything, so she looks quite nice on the water. So far a clean run as well. It's looking good.
Yeah, and I think our reflections from the men's C1 semi-final was that there were a lot of penalties, a lot more penalties than we expected, and unless you've really got the pace, then even the odd penalty here and there, it is just too expensive.
I mean, that combination from the exit of gate 4 all the way down to gate 13, that's full on there. You know, it's ducking and dodging the whole way, basically. Like, if you can get through that section without penalties, then you can, put the gas on for the second half, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good reflection there. It is just the course designers, Marianne Aguilon, Mark Delaney, have set a fair course, but it is really demanding.
Yeah, But they often set very tricky, technical courses here in Prague. I think all the World Cup races I've done here, they've been quite a sort of a technical level up from most of the other ones, because maybe the whitewater's not so big here, but just compact small features, so it makes sense to set tricky courses.
I think you're right. That is the way to test, separate the athletes, really, isn't it? Because I mean, we were in Markleberg last weekend on that course, and that has a 5.2 meter drop over the course of its 270 meters. This course is only 3.6 meters in drop over a longer distance of 300 meters. So the gradient not as much, but it doesn't mean it's any less challenging. But penalties starting to stack up for Aki Gezawa of Japan, 2016 Olympian in Rio.
Just coming unstuck a bit there in that tricky middle section, as I said before, basically the crucial section for a good run, and it'll catch up even the best paddlers.
When we talk about the real skill of an elite paddler, is quick decision making when it isn't quite on track.
Yeah.
And that's a great example, I think, of a sequence there, gate 5 through to gate 12, where you've got to be really good at reacting to the circumstances, making a quick decision and pulling it off.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, some staggers, sections like that, more often than not, you're not in the position you think you would have been in at some point in that sequence, so you've got to really react. I'm sure we'll see today a lot of spins that were not planned, potentially, things like that, or pushing back with the paddle, so backing off as well as like an emergency measure to get the gates. The water's quite fast in that section as well, so you don't have a lot of time between each gate.
Yep.
Maybe some of those less than a second to get yourself into the right position.
Well, let's see if the two-time Olympic champion from Athens and from Beijing, Elena Kalishka of Slovakia, can show us her experience on this section. Unfortunately, she's picked up an early penalty on the upstream gate 3.
That's going to be costly, I think. If she can have a good, controlled, clean section here, she could probably, I think, turn the run around. But, there's another penalty there, so it's going to be hard from here. But she's probably one of the most experienced paddlers in the whole women's kayak field. So,
well, she's 47 years old,
yeah,
and two-time Olympic champion. She's a world champion. She's won everything there is to win in the sport.
Still charging pretty hard as well.
And still charging, but she hasn't made a final since 2014 in a major race. How good would it be to see her back in a final?
Yeah, it would be an amazing achievement for her as well. I mean, there's a lot of, I'd say probably the style of the last couple of years has become a little bit more aggressive than maybe when she was winning a lot of the races, a lot of the world champs and World Cups and stuff. So it'll be good to see her, adapt to those changes and show the rest of the field that she's still got it. That was a very nice cross into that last up. See, she got her bow turned upstream nice and early, came into the up really well turned, but 6 seconds of penalties is pretty costly. Would have been in the lead without those.
So into second place for Elena Kalishka of Slovakia, but it is still Ida Novak leading for Slovenia at this stage in the competition. Remember,
early days though.
30 boats racing in this semi-final for just 10 places in the final. That final will be live on Planet Canoe this afternoon, 12:40 it gets underway, but I suggest you join us at 12 o'clock for the men's C1 final, and then we'll follow straight into the women's K1 final. So on course now, it is Victoria Urs of the Ukraine, who took a bronze medal at the Tartan World Cup. She's been around and about on the circuit for a long time, but that was a real step up for Victoria.
2.9 up on the split as well. That's pretty good. She's had a very good top section, keeping the boat exactly where it needs to be. That's quite a good cross there. Nice getting that up 13 on the sweep. It's pretty quite a fast way to do that. So she's built foundations for a really good run here, and if she can just hold on to that, keep it going, then it will be we're looking at quite a fast time, I think.
Yeah, and she'll be looking to book her place at the Olympic Games, at the World Championships, that Olympic qualification process. She was 12th in Rio. And look at that,
5.4.
She has found some time on this course and keeping it clean. And I suspect if she can keep it clean on this bottom section, she'll put herself in a really great place for a place in the final.
So we saw the fastest men's C1 times around just below 100, around about 100. So the women's kayak should look to go maybe slightly slower than that. So maybe 103, 104 or something like that for the very fastest. She's gone 6.6 into the lead though. That's probably happy with that, I would say.
Well,
Doesn't look it though.
She doesn't look it, does she? But I guess it's early stages, it's hard to know.
Yeah, it's hard to judge.
But you're right, I think she should be happy with that. That's a clean run, 108.63, and surely that puts her in a good position. But she will have to wait and see how that stacks up as Anna Faber of Germany is on course, who was 4th at the Under-23 World Championships last year. She was a Junior Worlds finalist in 2014, and such is the strength of the women's kayak team in Germany that these opportunities don't come around very often. But the German A team taking a rest before the World Championships, and Anna Faber has her chance.
Yeah, this will be some really useful experience for her World Cup racing and semi-finals, so hopefully she can make the most of it, do a good performance in the semi-final. So if she's in touch on the first split, 1.9 or so behind, so if she can use some of that classic German fitness and power in the bottom section, maybe she can catch up to Victoria.
She's certainly looking really composed still on the course, but she's good on 16, but almost too good, too tight, takes the touch on the front of her buoyancy aid, and now starting to take a few risks.
Yeah. This part of the course, the arms are really starting to burn. You can, really struggling to get the air into those muscles, and yeah, you can see that the fatigue's really set in on her, going very low into up 21 there.
Suddenly the run starts to just that mistake on 16, then she had to duck off 17, nearly didn't make the gate, and then low on 21, and then it all compounds, and I suspect that will have really added to the deficit. So Victoria Urs of the Ukraine will still be our race leader already.
Yep.
It is Anna Faber of Germany outside of that time and only into 3rd place.
I mean, still good race experience for her as a young paddler. I'm sure she won't take that too hard, but an excellent achievement just to be in the semi-final here with the quality of the field.
Well, that's right, and it is a high quality field because we're getting into the sharp end of the season. It's double points up for grabs in the World Cup final. And Lisa Fritsch of Germany now on course, 2-time medalist at Under-23 World Championship level, and well, now she takes on this 8-gate offset sequence.
Maybe a little bit wide there. She went a bit too far back for gate 6. Maybe, I think, probably taking a bit of a longer line, but a safer line. And that's probably reflected in that time there, that split 2.66 down. But what's crucial is that she hasn't got any penalties. She's probably quite composed, or using the bank there, that was quite ingenious, I think.
Was it?
The position she was in.
There's a few people have done that. I wouldn't necessarily have said that that's the move on gate 13,
No.
but you're allowed to do it, and that's you can as long as you don't touch the poles with any part of your body, your boat, your blade, you can do what you like. Really,
Yeah.
that's the rules.
I think just from the position she was in, quite low into the up and deep, close to the wall, that was a good way of exiting the upstream with a lot of speed. Whereas if she just paddled, she probably used more energy to get out of the up. So,
Well,
yeah,
she's
well done. She's clean run so far. I don't want to do a commentator's curse or anything.
Well, she's kept it well. She was tight into 21. She's a bit low in 24, but she's kept the boat speed on, and she's got the exit. So I think Lisa Fritsch of Germany is on to a solid run here that should put her into 2nd place. And there it is, 109.70. And look, she closed the gap on the bottom section. So Lisa should be pleased with that. Victoria Urs still leading for the Ukraine, ahead of Lisa Fritsch of Germany, and Ida Novak of Slovenia 3rd. But only 6 boats down, 24 still to come And Natalia Pasiepnik for Poland is on course now. She's a two-time Olympian. Her best result was in London in 2012. It's 7th place. And, well, she was 19th last weekend in Markkleeberg in Germany. She's
Really quick upstream four.
cutting the lines.
Yeah.
That's what we like to see.
She's got quite a quick style, and she's like turns the boat very fast and is quite light on the water. So yeah, I think that upstream fall has really helped her in that first split there.
Yeah, so
Ooh,
slightly ahead
quite
on the split
right
of
there.
Victoria Urs of Ukraine, but she's dealing with it well, because
Yeah.
she definitely got out of shape there, but she's kept it clean, she's kept it going. Now she needs to recompose herself and get back into the groove. It's interesting, the Polish, you talked about style, the Polish very attacking paddlers.
Yeah.
A lot of that comes from the kind of courses they train on.
Yeah.
Krakow, not the biggest of whitewater, but
No,
actually quite similar to here.
this, yeah. Well, sort of, yeah, quite similar to this, and the size of the features is moderate, I guess. And yeah, they're all really aggressive style paddlers. That's kind of a trademark of their style. Usually, quite strong paddlers, and she's on a pretty good run, I think. Interestingly, she paddles the zigzag kayaks, which is, mostly the French and Spanish paddlers use those. So that's interesting, I guess. Seems to suit her style.
Well, here she comes towards the finish. Natalia Pasiepnik
It's not
of
bad.
Poland is going to be just outside the top two, into 3rd place. It's a clean run, and
Slightly, it looks like she is slightly disappointed there.
well, it's interesting to see, isn't it, that maybe the women's kite would definitely be watching the men's C1 earlier. We saw so many penalties in the men's C1,
Yeah.
and I think there's clearly been some decisions made about just how important it is to not take too many risks on that middle section, and we have.
Yeah.
The first 4 at the moment are clean.
Yeah. Oh no.
So Lucie Bourdou of France is up next, and this is part of the French Olympic selection process, part of a few races, but all important as to go into the World Championships. And an early penalty for Lucie.
Just 0.05 off with a penalty though, so her top section's been quite fast. She was like ducking and diving and saving that stagger there. You could see she was doing some emergency sort of maneuvers, but worked out quite well for her. And she's got a really smooth style, so if she can just hold on to the run from here and keep making time, she could be on for a good one, but a bit caught up there.
Yeah, she hasn't quite found her potential really in this season. She was a World Cup silver medalist last year, and hasn't quite found that best result so far, 19th in the World Cup, but very capable of getting better results.
Yeah. Oh, just going offline there as well. That's costly. Just having to turn the boat back in the direction it wants to be.
And that makes her work really hard down that bottom section. She was had to straight line 22, 23, and you have to work really hard. But Lucie Bourdou of France is still, like you say, Tim, she's absorbing that 2-second penalty. It's not going to be too much damage into 3rd place, but that would have been the race lead, but for that penalty.
She'll be really, I'd say, disappointed with getting that penalty, because I think without that penalty it would be a good run, a really good run. And
Victoria Urs still leading for the Ukraine. Lisa Fritsch of Germany in 2nd. Lucie Bourdou of France in 3rd. As Avi Liebfarth of the United States of America. That really distinctive attacking paddling style now on course.
Yeah, she's exploded onto the scene this year, which is really awesome to watch. She does have a very distinct style, really high stroke rate, and quite short strokes, but she's a really light paddler, so you can see going forwards on 7 to 8, it's that's very aggressive.
She was a bronze medalist at Junior World Championships earlier on this year, in the sort of break between World Cup 3 and World Cup 4. And she's only 15 years of age, so already has made a couple of World Cup finals in the women's C1 category, but also in the women's kayak. She made the final in Tarsen in Slovenia.
Yeah, she's had a lot of good results in this World Cup season so far, and she just goes out and attacks, attacks every move. So it's really good to watch her, just take on everything full on. Basically.
I think that's a really good point, isn't it? That's what's great to watch, is she races without fear. She will leave it all on the river, and that's what we want to see.
That was a pretty good move, 20 to 21 there. She was in and out of 21 pretty quickly.
So at the moment, just that blemish really on that gate 10.
A bit late, but good save. Nice sweep up on 24 there.
Yeah, she certainly timing in there, the upstream 24. She was late, as you say, Tim, but she really repped it up when it mattered, and into 5th place for Avi Liebhardt of the United States of America. And it is still Victoria Urs of the Ukraine, our early leader. We've had 9 boats now down this course, 21 still to go. They're the fastest 21 from the heats yesterday. And I have to say, Avi Liebhardt has just been given another penalty on gate 9, so she's dropped down to 6th place.
That's disappointing, but again, pretty fast racing from her. I got to clean up those penalties, I guess. On the top, we've got Martina Wegman. So, she's really good to watch from the Netherlands. She's she still does paddle quite a lot of extreme kayak, like extreme whitewater creeking, I guess I'd say. So yeah, she can adapt her skills. And
well. This World Cup final here in Prague, we've actually got the Extreme Canoe Slalom World Championships taking place. That is tomorrow afternoon, and we'll be live with the quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals of that at 4:30 Central European time. So will we see you in action in that, Tim?
No, unfortunately. I was thinking of doing it, but no, I'm not doing it. But we will see Martina there. She's pretty strong in that class as well, and she's having quite a good run up until now. She's been really on it, but a little bit low there.
So 0.4 was the deficit, so a really good run coming together for Martina. But
she's got to hold it together now.
You are right. I think she maybe dropped a bit of time in the upstream 21. She wasn't as tight as she would have liked. This is critical, but she picked up a penalty on 23.
And a little bit, almost really good into that last upstream, but just sliding out a little bit, so she couldn't get out all on one stroke, losing quite a lot of time there.
So Martina Wegman of the Netherlands into 5th place, and it was such a good run coming together, but the bottom section, 17 and 23 touches awarded, and it is still Victoria Urs who has set the pace so far, as we have 10 boats down, 20 boats to go in this women's kayak semi-final here, live from Prague in the Czech Republic. It's the World Cup final, double points up for grabs. So normally 60 points up for grabs for a race win in the World Cup, but here 120 points up for grabs. And we've got the World Cup leader still to come, Karina Kühnler of Austria, and the double world champion. She'll be up very shortly. But on course, Aliska Mintalova of Slovakia, who's really started to make a name for herself on this World Cup circuit.
Almost a second up on the top split, so she had a really neat top section. Nothing super, super special, but just really on line, really keeping the boat where it should be. And I think that's what you want on the top. You don't need to win the race there, but you can definitely lose it.
That's a good way of putting it. And Aliska has. She was finalist at the World Under-23s and the European Under-23s this season, so no stranger to the kind of pressure. They're qualifying through in semi-finals, but now it's about converting it into senior ranks, and that's a great line. Really carried the momentum on 21.
Yeah, she was just a little bit back on that second split, so it's going to be close. I think it shows that how composed Victoria Urs was in that middle section. She really had a solid run there. She's running a little bit low into the last up, so it's going to come quite close.
Well, it's going to be tight, isn't it? 1:08 is the lead time at the moment. 1:08.63. It's going to be close. It's a clean run, and it's inside into the race lead for Aliska Mintalova of Slovakia. Well done, Aliska. You are now the pace that everybody else is chasing. 1:08.41. And, well, will she make it her second final of the year? Because she did actually make it. She was 6th at Lee Valley, the first World Cup of the season in Great Britain. But here's another name that we would expect to be pushing quick times from Slovenia, Eva Tersel. Now, Eva has... her ranking is 2nd in the World Cup standings after 4 races, and she's had a really good season. So 3 finals from the 4 World Cup races so far. She was 5th at the European Championships as well, so she's had a really good, consistent season.
Yeah, she would, given that season record, I think she would be looking like almost expecting to go into to make it into the final today, but you know, I guess you can't really expect anything given that the trickiness of the course. One tiny little mistake and you can be gone. And especially in Prague, all the Czech paddlers, you know, are going really fast. They have some secret knowledge here.
Yes, we have 3 Czech paddlers to come in this semi-final, and as you say, Tim, they are fast and they all go off in the last 5. They were within the top 5 in the heats yesterday. That's an indication of the kind of standard. That includes the world champion of 2015, Katerina Kudayova, Veronika Vojtova, Amelie Hilgertova. So intense competition there just from within the Czech team. Yeah,
all racing really well this year. You saw Amelie Hilgertova take out the Europeans earlier in the year, so you know, she's racing really well. Veronika had a really good selection for the Czech team, won the first few races. You know, she was really fast, so those girls are going to be absolutely sending it, I think.
Well, Eva Tersel is surely going to take the race lead. She does, 106.44. She shaves nearly 2 seconds off that race lead. And 106.44, the new lead time, but so many more clear runs on this semi-final than we saw in the men's C1. So the top 3, Eva Tersel of Slovenia, ahead of Eliska Mintalova of Slovakia and Victoria Us of the Ukraine. But next up, it's the world champion from 2006, Jana Dukatova of Slovakia, who took that world title on this course.
Yeah, that's some really amazing result, you know, to have a world championship on this course. Every time you come back, surely it would be a pretty special place to race. And it's good to see her racing again quickly, getting quite fast times again on the circuit, because she was not there for a year or so.
That's right. She was 4th at the Rio Olympic Games, and then she's taken some time out of the sport. She's had a child, and it's great to see her back and juggling motherhood. In fact, there's a feature, if you look on Planet Canoe, there's a bit of a feature, an interview with
pretty amazing, isn't it?
With Jana around how she juggles being a mother as well as being an elite athlete, and what comes out is her real hunger that she's still chasing a medal at the Olympic Games.
Yeah. Well, she's got her hands full here, I think. 2 penalties now. You know, she's going to have to be really, really fast in this last section, 5.85 back, so going to have a pretty flawless bottom section, I think.
Well, this could be significant as well from a Slovak perspective, the Olympic selection, because Eliska Mintalova has put in a great run.
Exactly, yeah.
And Jana Dukatova, Elena Kališka, well, it looks like it's going to be Mintalova who is the top boat at the moment.
Yeah, this year we've seen so many races within races, with countries doing their Olympic pre-selections. Obviously, they're all still not accounting for you've got to make the quota at the World Championships or Continentals, but...
Well, into 8th place for Jana Dukatova.
I don't think that'll be enough.
It's not going to be a final today, I think, for Jana, unfortunately, for the world champion of 2006. So it is Eva Tersel still leading the way for Slovenia. As on course now, Klaudia Zvolinska, the second of 2 Polish paddlers in this semi-final. She was silver at the Under-23 Worlds this year, 9th last weekend at Markkleeberg. So her season is right on track and coming into form just at the right time.
Yeah, Klaudia's a really fast paddler. She has a super aggressive style. You see her sweep a lot of the ups. You know, it's similar to the men's kayak. Like she's really dynamic paddler. She's done a little back off in that stagger, which I think is quite a safe option, but maybe lose a little bit of time compared to the quickest. But I mean, in the scheme of things, probably keeping it together there is better than then absolutely risking everything.
I'd agree. And she looked on track 12 to 13, but then just the bows got pushed down a little bit low, but still clean and very much in contention for a place in the top 3 at this stage in the competition, because we're nearing the halfway point in this women's kayak semi-final here, live from Prague in the Czech Republic. It's race 5 of the World Cup series, and it's the final.
Ooh, 3.2 seconds back, so she'll probably looking to slot in at the moment around about 4th or 5th. So if she can have just a really good bottom section, hold it together, she can probably push a little higher than that. But it's around about the time in the semi now. Those girls in the first position will be kind of looking on, thinking potentially finals.
Well, I think certainly Ava Tersel of 106.44, I think she could start getting changed.
Yeah, I think
focused,
so.
Getting focused on preparing for that final. Klaudia Zwolinska of Poland into 7th place, and
lost a little bit more on the bottom.
It is. It's a clean run, and it just shows that you've got to keep it. You've got to keep it on track. You can lose time on the course, particularly the middle section. As we watch Camille Prigent of France, who is a really exciting young paddler, and another one who's part of an internal selection process on this race, as well as competing for double points here in the World Cup final.
Whoa, she's gone a little bit too far there, had to spin and taking a penalty, so that'll be a lot of time lost there just in that gate, so that's really unfortunate for her. She'll be, at least I guess the penalty is at the top, so she's got a lot of time to absorb that, but yeah, that's not the best start.
So she was under 23 world champion last season, and it was good to see last weekend in Markkleeberg in Germany, World Cup 4. She took her first World Cup final of the 2019 season, and that'll be a big boost for her confidence coming into this race. And she certainly looks like she's put that touch early on behind her.
Yeah, she's been one of the better French women's kayak in the last couple of years. Had some really good results, and she's only getting better. Like her style is quite aggressive. She, as well as one of those paddlers you'll see do a lot of sweep ups. There you go. She goes for one there.
She's you set that up, haven't you?
Yeah. So she's definitely got the speed. Just whether or not you can put it down in when it counts.
Well,
yes.
5.7 was the deficit, but she's been really good on 21 and 24, the upstreams. Surely she's certainly closed the deficit a little bit. It may not be enough.
She's got a lot of work to do, though. I think not quite fast enough. Oh, 7.4.
So 113.88, the total time for Camille Prigent of France. And it is still Ava Tersel leading for Slovenia, ahead of Aliska Mintilova of Slovakia and Victoria Us of the Ukraine, as we are at the halfway point in this women's K1 semi-final here in Prague in the Czech Republic. It's the World Cup final, and we're into the halfway point of this semi-final. And on course, Eva Alina Hocheva of Slovenia.
Really fast young Slovenian girl. We see she's fast in both canoe and kayak, so she does a lot of paddling, and to be in a semi-final at her age is really good. Do that alone, and she's been in World Cup finals this year, so
she has indeed. She made the final at Bratislava, and she took a silver medal at the Junior World Championships this season. So very much an emerging name, as you say, and comes from good paddling heritage in terms of father Simon Hocheva, who was a Slovenian sort of legend in the sport, men's C1 and downriver as well as slalom.
Yeah, I'm sure Eva and Evie Leibhardt, we're going to have a lot of big battles over the next decade or so. They're both around the same age, both really, really, really good young.
Well, she's got a bit
C1 and K1s.
Got a bit stuck in the run into 21, but no penalties picked up for Eva Alina as she comes down the bottom section of the course. This is where we really find out just how much she can cope with the physical demands of this course.
Yeah. It's looking like a good setup. Yeah, it's not bad.
Got very good there now. She's got to chase it home. She's not going to take the race lead, but it is a respectable run for this junior still in the 2019 season. And where's it going to be? Into 7th place. 1:12.29, slipped away a little bit at the bottom part of the course, but what a respectable run there for the junior. Well, let's focus on the top part of the course, because here is the 25-year-old world number 1. It is Jessica Fox of Australia. And, well, what can she do? She's really got her season back on track after a shaky start by her standards, to the 2019 season.
Yeah, Jess was probably maybe first or second of the biggest names on the circuit to come down so far. So she unusually wasn't at the top of the leaderboard for the quals. So she'll be, I'm sure, looking to cement a position in that final quite early. So 1.5 up already. Yeah, it's a good start. She's keeping it clean. And Jessica Fox, the 4-time world champion in this event, 2-time Olympic medalist again in this event, is very much looks like she's building into the run. Yeah, that's definitely Jess's style, is to start off very smoothly and controlled, and then she really puts on the afterburners down the second part of the course. So well, let's see whether she's extended that advantage. Surely she has. Well, it's 1.73, so she's still on track to take the race lead ahead of Eva Tersel of Slovenia, and looking very composed indeed. It'll be interesting to see whether the athletes take a different tactic in terms of risk between the semi-final and the final. Semi-final being a little bit more around making sure they keep it clean in the middle section. But Jessica Fox of Australia looking smooth, looking really nice, on track to not only book her place in the final, but to take the race lead here in Prague. 1:05.66 and into first place. So that's a nice run. Another clean run here, and the top 5 are all clean. Jessica Fox of Australia leads ahead of Eva Tersel of Slovenia and Eliska Mintalova of Slovakia. Next up, Luca Jones of New Zealand, silver medalist from the Rio Olympic Games, and well, she's a 3-time Olympian, and she's a 3-time world finalist. So Luca, consistent when it matters. Yeah, she's really skilled paddler. Wow, look at that. That's one of the fastest up 3 that we've seen so far. She's coached by legendary Scottish paddler Campbell Walsh, so it's probably not that's probably a really good thing to have his expertise at hand. She's 1.8 up on the top already. I think a lot of that coming from that up 3, up 4 combination. Well, Campbell Walsh, of course, I shouldn't really say it, the People's World Champion in 2006 here in Prague. There was a bit of controversy around penalties, but anyway, we're moving on from that. Luca Jones, can she hold on to that advantage? Great to see her. Now, she, again, has picked and chosen her races this season, but it's worked for her. She was on the podium in Bratislava. She won? I think she was silver, but she was. It was a strong performance for her. Yeah, really silver in Bratislava. She had a really, really good run. She just picked up a penalty on gate 18, so she's kind of got to put the jets on now, but that's probably not too much of an issue for Luca. She's really, really strong paddler. One of the most powerful, I'd say, on the women's circuit. Nice. Oh, no. She's almost too good for it there. She was so tight into 24, about to nail it, but just another penalty, and Luca Jones goes suddenly onto the back foot as she comes towards the finish. That finish sprint is an absolute killer as well. You know, it's really long. It doesn't look that long on the video here, but it's like far. It seems like kilometers when you're at the end of your run. When you're digging deep and the reserves, the tank is on empty. No, it's a really good way of putting it. But it's a surprise there. Luca Jones, a great time, 1:07, but 4 seconds of penalties and into 8th place. So not looking like we're going to see Luca in the final. So next up, Marie-Zilia Lafont of France on course. Again, this is part of the French Olympic team selection, so a little internal rivalry between the French team as well as looking for places in the final. But Marie-Zilia already a little bit off track on 5 to 6. So they're using the back off between gates 5 and 6, and that's it's a good save, I'd say, but probably not not what she was planning to do.
Oh, she is a World Cup winner. That was, I can't remember which year. It might have been even the Olympic year, 2016 in Pau in France. I remember that.
She had a really good season that year when she broke onto the scene and then went to the Olympics. So that was good. I reckon this is going okay for her so far. So if she can stay out of penalties, then she could be okay.
Well, she certainly put that early mistake behind her because she's keeping it on track. She was fourth in Bratislava. That's her best result in the World Cup this season. And 3.75 down, well, that's not a disaster.
No.
So if she can make sure she doesn't extend that, then she still puts herself in the mix, because it won't be long before we start to confirm who are into the final, because we've had 18 finishers now and 30 boats in this semi-final with just 10 spots in the final. Marie-Zélia Lafont doing well for France as she now sprints to the finish. She digs deep, looks for the reserves, and it's going to be outside the race lead time, but it's going to be a respectable performance and into 7th place. Amazing how there's a group of people now bunching up, and she's probably the wrong side of a couple of seconds there. Well, wrong side really of about 0.2 would have put her into the top 5.
Yeah, we can see a whole bunch of 109s there. And I think if you can just get around the low 108, then you're looking pretty good for the final.
Yeah, and I just look at that. Marie-Zélia has been awarded a 2-second penalty on gate 15, and that has moved her down to 9th place. So it is still Jessica Fox leading for Australia, Eva Tersel of Slovenia in 2nd, Eliska Mintalova of Slovakia in 3rd. Those 3 surely looking favourable to making it through into the final. That final will follow on from the men's C1 here in Prague, and that's at 12 o'clock Central European time. 12:40 the actual women's kayak final will get underway, but on course at the moment it is Ekaterina Perova of the Russian Federation, who has made a World Cup in her career, a World Cup final I should say, but not got the level of consistency that we see with some of the boats that are on this circuit.
Yeah, she had a pretty rough top section there. Got copped a bit of a surf out of gate 4, so that was losing her quite a lot of time then, since that using a lot of energy as well. That was really lovely.
There'll be a few people looking at that on the video for the final to see, well, how did she do that? 21, really, really good for Katerina, but is the damage done on the top section?
Oh, very nice entry, but she ended up exiting that up really, really high, which is probably losing you a little bit of time because you've got to go down past where you went up.
So Ekaterina Perova of the Russian Federation, 110 seconds actually, given the time loss at the top of the course, she found it at the bottom.
She matched Jess pretty much from the top section all the way to the bottom. She held that deficit about around 4 seconds, so it's definitely that 2021 combination was really good. I think that a lot of the top girls will be doing the same as her.
Well, let's see. It is Russian Federation again now, because it's Marta Kharitonova on course now, who is, she's a very experienced paddler. She was a bronze medalist here back in 2011. She has made World Cup finals, 7 in total, and she is an Olympic finalist from London 2012. So Marta very much capable of getting in the mix, and 2.5 seconds down. If she can hold on to that, she is in and around that final zone.
Yeah, we saw again a back off from 5 to 6, which is a few of the girls have done. I think it's very safe and sets up the stagger easily, but they're going to always lose a little bit of time to Jess there, just because it's not as fast as going straight. But yeah, she's sort of keeping it together.
Well, it's a big crowd here in the Czech Republic, because very shortly we will be seeing the 3 Czech paddlers in this women's kayak semi-final down the course. And it is a bit wet here. The rain is falling only gently, but it isn't dampening the crowd. Certainly always a good atmosphere here in Prague. The spectators really close to this river, and great show put on by the organising committee.
Yeah, it's always one of the best races for spectators. loads and loads of people come along to watch, especially at the finals. It's awesome. It's probably, I'd say, rivaled only by Augsburg, where the people really make some noise. So it's pretty awesome to race here in a final.
So Marta Haritonova of the Russian Federation, it slips away into 15th place. And that means that Jessica Fox of Australia is our first qualifier into this afternoon's final. Well done, Jess. You can go and get yourself prepared as we watch Great Britain's Mallory Franklin, who, well, she's had an outstanding start to the season. We haven't seen her race that much since the start of the season. She took a double gold in Lee Valley at the first World Cup of the season in the C1 and the K1 event. And, well, this is her opportunity to show what she's been doing in that time. Lots of training and preparation for the World Championships.
Whoa. She's had a really good top section, 1.4 up.
But she's just cancelled it out. A little touch on the shoulder on the downstream 10 and another one on 12.
And all of a sudden, got to get going again.
So she's going to have to do something special to absorb that down the bottom part of the course.
But Mallory's one of the most, well, probably smoothest and most skilled women's kayak paddlers on the circuit, so I'm sure if anyone can reel in some time, it would be her, I'd say.
Well, we'll get an indication on the split as where she stacks. Wow, 1.61 the deficit. She's still in the game here. She can still qualify through into the final, and it's good. 21, she gets the tied exit. Now 4 gates between her and the finish line.
It comes down to this last move, basically, I think.
Mallory Franklin of Great Britain now composed through the upstream 24. Now the time to beat, well, to qualify automatically, 106.44. I think it's going to be outside of that, but she's got to put herself near that time if she wants to get into the final. 107.49, including 4 seconds of penalties. Surely that's good enough for the final.
Yeah, I'd say
she
so.
will have to wait and see, but importantly, that's a 103.49 time.
As I originally predicted, 103, 104. So, kind of happy with that.
So, at the moment, Jessica Fox has qualified for Australia, and Eva Tercel of Slovenia in second place. Those two are qualified. Mallory Franklin of Great Britain currently sitting in the next spot, having had 4 seconds of penalties. But let's turn our attention to the next boat on course. It is Victoria Wolfhard of Austria, who was a big surprise elimination in the women's C1 yesterday in the heats.
Yeah, that's pretty rare to see that. She doesn't often miss the semi-finals, so she'll be looking to make up for that with a strong performance in kayak. And just getting a little touch there and struggling on that move. So she's got some big time to make up now. That's a good way to start it. A really good cross. Getting into that upstream with a lot of pre-turn is helpful, so bow pointing upstream before you get to the gate.
Especially on this course with the steep sides, and if the gate is close to the wall, then that pre-turn really helps you to deliver the exit as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that up in particular is really sort of boily, unstable, so if you can come in pre-turn and get out as fast as you can without sort of being stuck in the eddy, then you're going to be really quick.
Well, Victoria Wolfhard of Austria, 7 seconds down at the moment on the race lead time. That's not where she wants to be. No. And it's those problems as well as that 2-second penalty, and not been her weekend so far in Prague. It's interesting, isn't it? Some courses suit you, some they don't, and equally how the one influences the other in terms of your performance. Into 15th place for the Austrian, and no place in the final for Victoria, unfortunately. So that's Mallory Franklin of Great Britain is our next qualifier. So Jessica Fox still leading for Australia as we watch the World Cup leader after 4 races. It's Austria's Karina Kundler, who is the 2-time world champion.
Really strong Austrian paddler here. She's one of the most powerful women's kayaks out there, so she can really throw the boat around a lot. And we see her going forwards here. That was fast, I think. But
she won the race in Bratislava, the second race of the season. She's got a slight advantage now on the split time, and Karina Kunle, not the most consistent of paddlers, but when she gets it right, as you suggest, Tim, then she's very hard to beat.
Yeah, looking pretty good there. It's slightly low, I'd say, into up 13. Didn't quite get the kick off the stopper that the fastest line would use, but she's all low there as well, very low. That's going to lose quite a lot of time. Maybe that advantage she had before looking like it might be diminished, but
well, you could just feel how hard that was for her to get back up into the upstream, and look at that, 3.28 seconds is the time that's cost her. Karina Kunle is she's still on track thereabouts for a place in the final. And we want her in the final. She's the World Cup leader after 4 races. We want the battle to go down to the wire.
That's exactly right. She's pretty fast into 21, but a little low in 24. So we'll see if she can pull it back on the sprint. It's a long way to go.
Well, at the moment she's ahead of Eva Tersel in the World Cup standings after 4 races, and into 6th place for Karina Kunle. So it's going to be a nervous wait. I suspect it will be enough. But that is good news for Eliska Mintalova of Slovakia. Well done, Eliska. You are into the final. That final live at 12:40 Central European time. But join us at midday Central European time, because first up will be the men's C1. That'll be the final, and then it'll be the women's K1 will follow immediately from that. But Ana Shatila of Brazil up next. And, I always say this, she's always a risk taker, and it's this kind of move here that we could expect something special from Anna.
She's a really fast paddler. She's been there and thereabouts for quite a long time now on the circuit in terms of getting medals. She's getting fairly frequently in the finals. So she's also another girl that doubles up C1 and K1. So she's got a lot of cross-class knowledge. Oh, that was quite tight. Maybe not super fast exit, but still quite fast, I think, just in terms of getting around the gate, getting out of there. But she's looking pretty good so far.
She does indeed. She really looks like, she is attacking it. She is cutting the lines, but she actually looks really in control as she comes down the bottom part of the course.
Just behind.
1.69, well, that would be good enough for a direct qualification into the final if she can hold on to that. And again,
nice
cutting the lines on 21.
Yeah, if you practice those enough in training, I think that they become kind of the safe, not safe, but they become your bread and butter, those kind of ups close to the poles. You see a lot of the men's kayaks always go really close to the poles, and it looks risky, but they just do it every time, and she's probably learnt from that and just does the same.
Well, it's a good run from Ana Shatila of Brazil into 4th place and straight into the final, and look, she is pleased with that. And good, we'll see Anna in the final. So at the moment it's Jessica Fox leading, and joined in the final it's Eva Tersel, Mallory Franklin, Ana Shatila, Eliska Mintalova. 5 boats still to go, and the first of 3 Czech paddlers on course. It is Amalie Hilgertova, the European champion of 2019 and the under-23 world champion. So she's had a good season so far.
Yeah, she had a really ripper start to the season with those 2 gold medals in the Euros and the under-23. So she's definitely not going to be low on confidence, and being her home course, she'll know this course inside out. You can see there taking it forwards.
Well, she's quick, but she has picked up a penalty. She's absorbed some of that.
Yeah.
But 1.43 the deficit, and she's late on that move. And that's low into 13. We saw that with Karina Kunle, just how costly that could be on the clock.
Yeah, that was, a pretty good save considering the position she was in the downstream gate before that up. But yeah, a lot of energy used to make it back. But she's had that was a pretty smooth up there, taking lots of speed on the exit. So I think she's in, even with that penalty, she's not too far behind.
4.42. Well, it's going to be needed to shave something off that. It doesn't have to go into the race lead, but if she stays at that kind of deficit, she'll be the wrong side of
right on the bubble.
a few tenths. So Amelie Hilgertova in front of her home crowd needs to find some time here and running out of space to do that, but that's pretty good on 24.
Yeah, really getting it all in one sweep, that's pretty ideal. I think maybe it's going to be very close, isn't it?
And it's going to be 8th place, so Amelie Hilgertova of the Czech Republic will have a nervous wait, given that we've got some fast boats still to come. But that means Victoria Us of the Ukraine is into the final. That's a good news story, that is. But it's, well, straight from our first Czech paddler to our second Czech paddler, because it's Veronika Vojčová of the Czech Republic, 29-year-old fast paddler who we could expect to do something special. She's 6th in the World Cup standings after 4 races, and she's been consistent.
She almost exit out of that gate 3 before doing the gate, which has lost her quite a lot of time, I think. So she'll be right on line now. Hopefully no penalties. She can probably still bring it back, but you can see she's going to be a little bit behind Jess already.
Yeah, we can hear the Czech crowd really, really giving her that support. And, well, that can be good, but it can also be tough, because particularly as the crowd here is so close to the action. But 3.22, the deficit at the moment. Veronika needs to do something special, but she just looks like she's lost a bit of her smoothness.
Yeah, she's probably really still a bit trying to absorb that mistake at the top. And sometimes, you get into a mindset that you're gonna have to smash everything if you make a mistake at the top, and it can tighten you up and make you more rushed than you actually need to be.
These athletes make it look so easy as well. I guess such is the standard of the field, even in the heats, that they make it look easy, and it's only when you see someone make a mistake you suddenly realise just how good everybody is. And Veronika Vojčová now, she's kept it clean. This could be a lifesaver, but is it going to be enough to make it into the final?
She was at 6 seconds out from the on the second split, so I think it's probably not going to be enough. She's just on the wrong side of the 108, so yeah.
Well, disappointment for the home crowd at the moment, because into 16th, but I guess it gives Amelie Hilgertova a little bit more breathing space. But the World Cup leader for Austria at the moment, Karina Kunler, is now into the final, so that will be an exciting battle.
That'll be awesome to watch.
Next up, Stephanie Horn, who is a World Cup winner this season. She won in the 3rd race of the season in Slovenia. Olympian from Rio 2016. She was 8th in those games, and she's had a really good season so far this year.
She's reflected by the bib number 4, so she's definitely a force to be reckoned with, and she's up on the first split, which is impressive, because it's pretty hard to be up on Jess Fox. So.
No, that's good. That's where she needs to be at the end of the day. In this semi-final, the job is just getting into the top 10. Then you can take the risks and go for the big points in this World Cup final. But a penalty there on the upstream gate 13.
That's hard to take those, because she did everything right, did the whole upstream, and then just pushed it with her paddle with such a thing. You'd think you would never do it. It's right in front of you, but happens more than you think.
Yep, and you've almost, because you've done the gate really well and you've almost moved on, you're focusing on the next gate, and just a little bit of a distraction and a bit sticky on 21. But
running into the wall there and going a little bit too high, I think, into that up, so she's arrived to the upstream with not enough pre-turn, too straight, and just hit the walls, lost her a little bit of time as well.
Well, this is critical for Stephanie Horn, because she's right on the edge of qualifying through. 109.58 is the time she needs to beat to go straight in, and it's going to be outside of that. Stephanie Horn is into 15th place, and that's a big surprise.
Huge bunch of paddlers that are just outside the qualifying time, all really close together. So,
but the Czech crowd respond well to that, because Amelie Hilgertova of the Czech Republic is into the final. 2 boats to go in this women's kayak semi-final here, live from Prague in the Czech Republic, and Kimberly Woods is on course into this double upstream gate 3 and 4. Now, Kimberly had a really good day yesterday, qualifying 2nd in the women's kayak and in the canoe, but I'm not sure if that was the plan on the back off there on that move.
She did it quite well. I mean, it looks like she might have planned to do it, because she went for it straight away, not like as an emergency. But yeah, she did it, pulled it off quite well. But, oh wow, no.
Well, she's
Just.
certainly cutting the lines and gets in tight into 13. So she had the advantage, only a small advantage over race leader at the moment, Jessica Fox of Australia.
Oh,
but
late
she's
penalty.
picked up a penalty right on the top of the course. And now, well, we'll see where that all stacks up, because she's had she's had to be quite reactive on this run, hasn't she?
Yeah,
It hasn't necessarily gone to plan. 3.14, so she's right on the button really for a place in the final. At the moment, 4.04 off the race lead is the next spot in the final. So if she can keep it tidy on the bottom section, she's still in the mix for a place in the final. Well, Kimberly Woods now coming into the final upstream gate, and the time that you need to know is 1:09.70. It's Lisa Fritsch of Germany currently sitting in that place, and if Kimberly Woods can beat that, it's going to be close, but it's going to be inside, surely. It is.
Yes.
And into the final for Kimberly Woods. Wow, that was tight.
Yeah. With the penalty, that's pretty impressive.
She looked a bit nervous there. She knew she had left it a little bit open, more open than she would like. But Kimberly Woods joins Mallory Franklin in that final with one boat to go in this women's K1 semi-final for the home crowd. It's the world champion of 2015, Katarzyna Kudryova, who has started to rediscover the form that she showed, because she's had a pretty quiet a couple of seasons by her standards. But in the last few races, she's really started to come alive.
Yeah, she's got that really smooth style. You see, almost never rating up, quite a slow stroke rate. But all of her strokes are really effective. And she would be pretty at home on this course. She trains with Yuri Priskovich, so no stranger to tight staggers, I'm sure.
Already we have one Czech boat in the final. That is Amelie Hilgertova. So
they love to get two, though.
Yeah, the crowd here very much, despite the sort of cooler conditions, the rain falling, the atmosphere here and the support from the home crowd is very much still in presence. And Katarzyna Kudryova now coming down towards the split.
Pretty good. Oh.
And at 1.77, that is well in touch. So she's doing absolutely what is required, and a great line through into 21.
Not bad at all.
So myself, Andy Maddock, and alongside me, Tim Anderson of the Australian team, really following the actions. We're right into the sharp end of the women's kayak semi-final here in Prague. And it looks like surely Katarzyna Kudryova of the Czech Republic, the world champion of 2015, is surely going to book a place in this afternoon's final. It's not going to take the race lead, but it is going to take a place in the final. Into fourth place, 1:07.95. Well done. Two Czechs in the final, and two British boats. And other than that, it's single countries. But it is Jessica Fox of Australia who holds on in this semi-final. She takes the honours. She'll go off last in this afternoon's final. Then Ava Tersel, second for Slovenia. Mallory Franklin of Great Britain, third for, and the fastest raw time for the semi-finals, 1:03.49. So there'll be a few people watching that run, I'm sure, between now and the finals. But your reflections on that women's kayak semi-final, Tim?
It was, as we saw, really crucial to avoid the penalties. You know, that the top 8 all clean except for Mallory Franklin managing to get up into third place with 4 seconds of penalties. So, you know, unless you had an absolutely outstanding run, that you really couldn't afford to hit the gates. Pretty awesome semi-final to watch, though. There's lots of stuff happening, and the course just is amazing for that kind of action, because every boat down, you know, you're kind of thinking, are they gonna nail it? Are they not? So yeah, I can't wait to the final, just see it all go off.
And of course, in terms of World Cup standings, then, well, the key players are in there because we know Ricarda Funk is not here for Germany, but Karina Kundler, Eva Tersel, Jessica Fox, they are through into the final, so maximum points still available to those. Stephanie Horn of Italy is the big surprise, only 17th in the semi-final. She won't feature in the final, so, well, it looks like it'll be a battle between Kundler, Tersel and Fox for that overall World Cup title of 2019.
And commiserations as well to Lisa Fritsch in 11th place, just outside the final. But congratulations as well, I guess. It's probably quite a really good run for her. So
yes, indeed. And
take it how you want, I guess.
Here's the standings. Jessica Fox of Australia goes off last in the final. And we will see the Czech Republic led off by Amelie Hilgertova in that final. So a few big names there. We talked about Stephanie Horn not making it through. And, well, none of the French boats in the final either, which is probably a surprise.
Bit of a surprise, yeah. You know, they almost always feature in the final in every class because they're such a strong nation. So that'll be disappointing for their team as a whole. But, yeah, I guess when they're not there, someone else is, so be an opportunity for someone else, like maybe like Aliska Mintalova, to show what she's got. She's a pretty fast paddler, so.
Well, we are wrapping up here from Prague in the Czech Republic for the semi-finals, but join us in less than an hour for the finals of the men's C1, the women's K1. Live from Prague in the Czech Republic, from me, Andy Maddock, and Tim Anderson. Then it's goodbye for now, but we will be back in 50 minutes' time, 12 o'clock Central European time, live from Prague with the men's C1 and the women's kayak finals. Bye for now.
Thanks, Andy.